Hi. So yesterday I was giving pretty good sessions on secret space program, and I thought hey, it's a great subject. I learned some new things. I can talk about it, and I took my notes. I have like some new things I've learned, and I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting. And at the same time, I got questions from people regarding the same subject. So now I can either make a very long video, and not everyone has like 30, 40 minutes of their time to watch me and stuff. So I'll probably make two videos, and I'll just get on right with it. So instead of learning, instead of covering what I've learned yesterday, I would like you to stay with me and I'm just gonna share my experience with Secret Space Program. And the thing about this whole subject, Secret Space Program and stuff, I have quite a few things to say and have quite a few questions as well. But I start from the place where it's a new thing for me. In the past, I've never read about it. I haven't sort of looked up on it. I was doing my own things. I'm interested, and with me, when I'm learning about entities, about soul constructs, about what's going on in the multiverse and stuff, I learn it from my out of body experiences. I don't read about it in the books, so my knowledge is limited. I don't know. I cannot tell you much about Secret Space Program or what's going on. I cannot tell you much about the world and stuff because I have not read about it. So you probably, as you're watching me, you know a whole lot more, and I don't know why you're watching me, but I learn things from when I get out of body. I get out, I see things, I learn things, I come back, and when I tell some people hey, this is what I saw, I just had a great experience. It's really interesting, and they're like, yeah, I've read about it in the book, and I'm like, really? And I'm always amazed because from what I learn, from what I hear from other people and stuff. I mean, I get out of body, I learn things, I come back, I share to others, and then I get the confirmation that, oh, it's in the book. Someone else also experienced the same things. There's a video about it. And so for me, it's I've learned something, and then I get the confirmation that someone else had it as well. So that makes my belief stronger, my whole trust and confidence in what I'm doing. And I'm like, wow, it's amazing. So with all that being said, I think I'm avoiding that information that might influence me. So when you're listening to me, a lot of what I know is mainly from the personal experience. It's mainly from who I am, what I learn and stuff. And when I read about stuff, it's only after I experienced it in UBIs, for example, and then I get confirmation that oh, awesome. Same thing with learning certain things in life, like meditation, different sort of work, not about UBIs as well. I guess it goes a lot, but the thing is, I will probably, as a child, I would do a lot of things naturally, oh, it just feels right to do it, and I would do it, and only then, after a few years, right now, I found out, for example, the whole thing with law of attraction, different things, I'm oh my god, I did it, naturally. I've never read about it, I just did it as a kid because it felt good, and now I read there's a technique on it, on how to do it right, and if I would remember and do the same steps I used to do as I was a kid, I would still get the same results. So same thing with getting out of body. And I learn about entities, I learn about how they work, I learn about their system and stuff from my experiences, and then when I get back, I tell others, and I hear about they have written books about it, they have articles on it, and so for me it's awesome. So with all that being said, I don't have much experience. I'm still learning about it. This topic is recent and new to me, and how it all started for me was I was doing my own usual work. I work with entities, I remove agreements for people and stuff. And one time, Rich 20&Back, he brought up hey, I was watching this video, and he was talking about Secret Space Program, and he has a person that wants a session, but when Rich is giving the sessions, he's mainly focusing on two-way comm. That's basically asking questions, question and answer, and he can do past life regression and guide people and help them to remember and stuff. But some people will have limited awareness, and they might have an idea oh, I think I might have been abducted. My life is weird. I have this weird nightmares, and they might tell signs and stuff, but they have no visuals. They cannot get out of body. They cannot check. They have no no real long detailed memory. And so with that, we're just hey, Aquila, how would you like to get out of body and check that out? Learn it from them. And that's how it all started for me. Rich got me hey, get out of body, check on their stuff, they're gonna give you details, and that's how I was doing my most sessions. When people talk to me, they talk about their life, their issues, their daily hardships and stuff, And I'm like, okay, I'll listen to their stories, and I'm like, yep, I can sense it. I get a sense of vanities, for example. I get a sense of different things. And then, if it's a dual session, and we're just the one having the two-way comment and asking them questions, and the person gets to talk it out, I'm the third party. I'm watching, observing everything. And while they talk, I get like a feeling, like a flash, like literally, I'm sitting here, and the whole world right in front of me changes, and I'm watching a movie, and I'm seeing like, oh, that's what happened, like that, and so I can see it. But then people like, okay, and I want to look at a specific detail when I was like this year, like at that age, and this very thing. I don't know much, but I might like, I have a feeling and stuff, and I'm like, okay, so we stop everything throughout the session. And I close my eyes, and I get out of body, and I take as long as I can take, or as long as it needs. And in that, I close my eyes, get out of body, and I focus on details. Like, okay, this is the person. I'm scanning their past. I'm scanning their memories, whatever. And I will go and check out, and like, basically, I re-experience everything. Whatever they had going on in their past, whatever happened, whatever the event is. I'm the third party watching a movie, and I'm engaged in it. It's like you're watching a movie, and then you're the person who gets watched. I'm the person who's not only watching the movie, I can enter and talk to everyone and be there and engage and like be the part of it all. So for me, the whole world and experience is much bigger. And from what I learned, I come back to my body, I open my eyes and like, okay, this is what I learned, blah, 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 blah. And I will tell them everything, and they're like, oh my God. And then they say they might have had a meeting with other people who do these sort of sessions. They might have done like some past life regression, and they haven't told us the details, and they just have us told like a few simple things. But then they're like, this person confirmed this, they say the similar thing, they've had dreams and memories like that. And then throughout it all, some people ask like, hey, Aquila, how can I remember my past life? And I I give them sort of details, or information on how to, and like techniques and stuff. But throughout the session, when I mention certain things like what I've learned, a lot of times, if it has happened in your past life, you will know it. Because when you hear a story, the truth in it, they're like, oh yeah, you feel sort of, it's familiar to you. You know about it, you know it's true. You've never read about it, you maybe haven't checked on it, but the feeling inside you, like, yeah, I know. And you get it like knowing it's inside of you. From our past lives, we experience that. In your past lives, you might have had that experience, so you know about it. In this life, it might be blocked out, you might not see it. But once you hear the story someone tells, you're like, yeah. And you get like really familiar because you recall that experience, because you know it's true from your past. So when I share my stories, like, I get out of body, I check the information, I come back and tell them what happened, people are like, oh yeah, and they can relate to it because they remember it. The memory is coming back, and it's all inside of you. You have it all. Also, all of your past lives, you are the unlimited consciousness, so you have it all. All the knowingness of everything is inside of you, you just have to tap into it. And then there's a whole subject of, is it real? A lot of people, there's a few groups. People who are like, okay, 20&Back, secret space program, MILAB, whatever you call it. Some people are like, okay, the real abductees who had experience, they know they were abducted, they can describe the experience of how they were lifted out of body, how they went in space and stuff. There's one side, and then the other side is like, bullshit, whatever you would call that stuff. I think it's all psyop, it's all inside, and it's all in your consciousness, and that's okay. Whichever way you look at it is true. It's like, what's the difference between the physical reality and the dream? If we remember the Matrix scene with where Morpheus is talking to Neo about like what is the reality. If it's all from your senses, then it's basically simply your electrical signals from the brain. And so in the dream, if it feels real, you touch everything, you have all the senses, your dream is real. And in the physical reality, everything here is real. So you have to end up describing what is real to yourself. And then just remember, consciousness is everything. You are the unlimited awareness. You are the consciousness. So whatever you think of, whatever you experience, however you see your reality, that is true. However you would see your world, that is the truth. If I see the world is round. That's truth. The world is flat. That's truth, because whatever I choose, I basically choose which reality I am taking, and that world becomes the way it is for me. And here we are on Earth. And that's a lot of people with their different opinions, with their different awareness, but we all have like similar agreements. We all have similar understanding, and sort of our similar understanding, the people who are alike, will create what we see, the collective consciousness. So, if an abductee who gets abducted in the 20&Back or whatever, for him, everything he experiences is real. The whole abduction thing, the whole like tests and stuff, everything he experienced, everything like being gone for 20 years and then taken back at the same moment, like nothing happened, that was real. Everything he experienced was real. At the same time, if you think it was an inside job, assume like, everything is in his mind. There was no abduction, there was no going out, there was nothing there, but it was all in your consciousness inside of you. That is truth. Both ways are truth, because however you would see it, and eventually it is true. You are the consciousness, you are the creator, you create everything. So both parties are truthful about the stories, and the whole thing about memory. Whatever I had for lunch yesterday, whatever my yesterday was, whatever my last year was, it's all a memory now. Is it truth? Is the reality right now? No, it's just a memory. All that happened is just a memory. And, some people might have this childhood amnesia. They're born, they're not remembering their baby years, they're not remembering some people my brother, he's a good person, but he doesn't remember his childhood. He hardly remembers stuff that happened in his teenage years. And he has a pretty good memory, he sharpens stuff, but whatever happened, that stuff either blocked out or just gone. And so some people will have no memory of their childhood. What did you do when you were 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old? And at some point you become conscious, more conscious and aware of that age, and then from then on, you can remember stuff. Some people can remember everything once they were in their mother's womb, or even before that, before they even incarnated or came on Earth, before they had reincarnation or whatever happened. So both ways are possible, and the whole thing with the memory, there's a thing with that amnesia of childhood, you can also create false memories and stuff. But let's say a person has a memory okay, my childhood went that way, and then all of a sudden they create a different reality where it's not create a different reality. They perceive everything for them that is real, and they might think okay, when I was 1-year-old I did this and that and that, and they spin a story and they believe it and they know it and they live that. They live through everything. For them, that story is true. For people that were watching the person and seeing him 24/7, they know nah, that's what happened. But it doesn't mean that the person is lying. The person experienced all of that. It's not like you're making shit up and lying. It's a whole different subject. It's not the child amnesia and you're making shit up. It's more you have the memory, you know it all, but you do things that seem true to you and you do it and you know it and you lived it. And for you, it's all real. For people that might have been watching you, they might perceive reality differently. And they might no, you didn't do that. And everyone will have their own story. Everyone will you didn't say that, you say this and stuff. And everyone will spin their own story. But the thing is, everyone will be right. And everyone will live that reality. Whichever you choose, whichever way you choose, it is the right reality. It is truth. So whether or not the secret space program, 20&Back, MILAB and stuff is a real thing, it is. Whichever way you look at it. It's all inside? Yes. It's being abducted and going physically? Yes. Both ways. So, with me, I don't have much experiences. But that's the way I see it. I might be wrong, but I think that however you would see your past, your memories and stuff, are you the one creating your memories? And are those real memories? Have you really lived that? Or is that some background image and it all happened, it all was written down already, you're playing a video game but you already have the character that is built and you're continuing story from when he's grown up and doing something. You don't know his past. You're just you have the background information about who your character is and what he did, and same thing with us. Do you remember absolutely everything? Have you lived all that? Is it all just a memory or is it all true? And whichever way you're going to see it, it's going to be true. So I'm not going to bash either side. I'm not going to say it's just one way and there cannot be the other way. Both ways will be true. Where it's all inside, where it's all that. And eventually, it is all inside. Going out of body is tapping into your consciousness and going deeper. However you would call it. Both ways are true. Going out that way, yes. Going out of body, inside of your consciousness, and then digging deeper into the knowledge and information, both ways are right. So I'm not going to be bashing and saying that only one side is true and that's the only way it is. I think both are right, and You can tell me your thoughts and stuff. But coming back to the whole subject, I'm talking all over the place, but I have some like really great questions, and I just wanted to answer it. So I answered like my thoughts regarding the 20&Back, and like, is it real or is it like all bullshit and stuff. So another person was asking, or was saying like, he is extremely skeptical about Corey's Goode 20&Back essential, and do you believe that the actual program is real, or did he make it up? And here's another thing. I have not read about Corey Goode stuff, David Wilcock, or anyone else. I have not. Literally, I haven't read stuff. I cannot tell you much. Until, like, yesterday, before, like, I had my PC show up, I've read about Corey's, like, the beginning, how he was sort of taken from the school to, like, this sort of tests and stuff, and they would, like, work with this memory. I read, like, one article yesterday. I found out basic information about how it works. Like, okay, yeah, I sort of have basic understanding, but I have never looked into his videos. I haven't, like, looked into much of his information. And maybe, like, not never, but there was one time when one of Rich's friends, Henrik, he sent us a video about Corey Goode and another, like, maybe Randy Kramer, another, like 20&Back abductee and stuff. And they were like, I watched one video, but not that many where I can tell you, like, that's true or not. And again, like, my experience comes from, like, I give sessions to people, and whether they have the ability to get out and check on everything or not, I will be the one that in the session, when I'm giving the session, and like, I'm gonna tap into their information, whatever they give me, and I'm gonna go out of body. And I get out of body, and if it's Rich and me working together, I can get out of body and check everything myself, but also Rich has this theta meter, and it's basically scanning your emotional self, like, like energy and stuff like that. So it can also work as a lie detector. And, if it's the right truthful information, it goes like that side. If it's not, like, go to that side. And, like, it's not like you're lying, but you're looking for the truth and you're still, like, not finding it, and it's blocking out. And once you spot the truth, it goes there. So with all that, if Rich does that, and, like, if he's checking on me and stuff, I get out of body, I'm experiencing things, and like, I focus a bit on specific things, like, oh, look, there's a spaceship, and Rich says that, and like, okay, spaceship it is, and I'm going there, and basically, I can have, like, a few planets, a few spaceships, a few realities, a few people, and the thing I'm gonna focus on, that will have a stronger connection to the person who's, like, whose story I'm gonna get, Rich is gonna get the read and guide me with that, and I go there, and then I spot the reality of things. I spot the truth of whatever I learned and stuff, and I get all the information. And then I bring back and, like, tell the story, and the person can, like, yeah, sounds familiar and stuff, and they can all agree to it. Or they can be like, okay, but I don't really think that it is a thing. So it's not for me to decide if it's true or not. I just found a story, like, okay, that's what I learned, that's what I found, here it is. And if the person's getting the session, they're like, yeah, that sounds like that's the thing, and they get like realization, they get the connections, they feel like it worked on their body and stuff. If it is the truth, you sort of know it, and like, how do you say, the truth will set you free. So whatever issues you might have right now, whatever blockages you might have, whatever issues you've had in your life, once I give them certain information, that will make them so true that all of their case regarding the subject drops. Because of the work we're doing, and they're able to release it, get, like, sort of like out of the deal, get, like, revoke their agreements and stuff, and they get free of that, and now their life changes for the better. At the same time, like, I can give them a story, like, it hasn't happened yet, thank God, but I can give them a story, and people will be like, yeah, that doesn't really match. And, like, they never experienced that, they're not connected to the information, or they simply might block it out. Like, imagine the case where you would go out of body, or you had a past life, whatever, and you decide, like, let's see, whatever type of character you might have, you just explored a few planets with billions of beings to see what it's going to be like. Or you maybe had a mission and stuff, and now you feel guilty, and like, oh, oops, that was a bad thing to do, and you just killed billions of beings. You hear their screams, you hear, like, their moanings and stuff, and, like, it really was bad, and you start feeling guilty. Never again. I will never again do that sort of thing. I will never destroy any planet. I will never hurt any beings. And it hurts you. Whatever traumatic experience you've had, it's gonna hurt, like, so much that you've made the decision that you're never gonna do that again. Not exploding planets, not destroying beings, not whatever. And you come back, like, you come into this life, either from out of body experience, or maybe you just incarnated on Earth, maybe reincarnated here, And now you cannot get out of body. Now you have a really hard case about like being with people, and now you're super sensitive. You're super sensitive to them not liking you, to them feeling bad, and you're just being super careful. And all that information from the past, you're blocking it out. You're not remembering. Not because you had the memory wipe. That can happen too, and it happens a lot. But a lot of times, if we do something traumatic, if we do something really bad that we are not proud of ourselves, like, oh, shouldn't have done that and stuff. So you might have like sort of traumatic like reaction that changes who you are as a person. It's like you watch a movie and like, you really connect with the character, and a movie changes you for the better. Like, wow, that was a great story. I just can relate to that character so much, and I want to be like that. And you sort of start relating to the main hero. Or maybe you have an animal and your pet dies, but you've learned to love. You learned who what real love is, what the care is all about, like staying up all night and just talking to your pet before they pass away and stuff. Man, like I had my cat like went sick. I was so scared. Like I love my cat a lot. Like I don't care what happens. I just like I'm there for her. And he was just sick, and we didn't know if he's gonna have to go to sleep and we're gonna lose him, or if he's gonna be here. But I was so scared, and I was like, damn, if I lose him, I'm gonna be crushed. And I just like did all of that energy work and like just creating my reality and like working really hard. And like I was at the vet, like I don't care, take all my money, just heal him, I will be here for him, do whatever. Like, and like I really gave into that, like no matter what. And so that experience, like I had a cat, and I also like I want a cat, I want to have my cat, and I also want a dog. And now after that experience, like I don't care what happens, I just want my cat, and he's the best cat in the world, and I don't want anything else because he's the only one for me. I love him more than anything else. And so, like, the whole thing, sort of, what happened in my case can happen to a lot of people. And whatever experience you have, there might be an experience that will change you forever. You make a decision that from now on you're going to be a different person. And so, whatever happens in the past, you might not remember it now, but no matter how traumatic it was, no matter how much it changed you over here on real life, like, over here on planet Earth and stuff, it can affect you like really bad. Sometimes we we block it out, and because of what we did, we will block out all the abilities to get out of body. We know that we fucked up, we did something bad, we're not proud of ourselves, and we're like, I will never ever get out. I will never do that again. And so, just because of what you've done in the past, because of the emotional case you're holding on to it, because of your decisions, you will not let yourself out of body. You will not let yourself do certain things in life. You will be held down, and maybe you were a rich person. Maybe you were so rich you were doing like dumb things, or maybe you just enjoyed like life, but you were abusive, psychopath or whatever. A lot of scenarios can happen. We live for billions of years. I think a lot of like us good people done plenty of bad things, a lot of bad people done good things. Both ways. So with that, you might have had a case where you have been really rich, you've done plenty of things, and you've hurt a lot of people, and now in this life you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I should have been nicer to people. And so you choose to be poor. You choose to place from the side that where poor people hang out. You're gonna be with them. You're gonna like be on the same level to like understand what it's like. And so it's not the karma thing. Karma thing is bullshit. It's just like it's a system created for you to reincarnate here on Earth again and again. Because of a whole different thing. But what I'm talking about is you. You as a consciousness, you as the awareness. You have probably billions of years of experience in different lives, in different places. And from all that you've gathered, over here on Earth, you decide of who you're going to be. But the case we have about loss, about who we are as people, our personalities, how we act in life, is all also based on our past. So our choices, it's not like, oh, karma hit you and you fucked up and now you're gonna be here. If you believe in karma, it's gonna happen. If you think like, if I do something bad, it's gonna fire back at me and stuff, and, it's gonna happen. Because your beliefs create reality. And whatever we had in the past, like our past lives, whatever decisions we made, if it's really harsh, if it's traumatic, and if you make a very strong decision, it's gonna affect you in the present. And so, whatever life you've had, it might still be playing a part. So, in all these sessions I'm giving, it's all like, scanning people of who they are and stuff. And looking at their issues. Like, maybe they have issues with drinking water. Maybe they're like maybe they're poor. Maybe they have some health issues. You might have problems with your spine, maybe problems with your eyesight and stuff. And let's say spine. Just take spine. Your back. So your back is out of shape. Maybe like it hurts a little, like, oh, what's wrong with my back and stuff. Now think about it. In your past life, come back. What are you doing? Like, head back and stuff. And all these phrases, all these commands that has to do with back, just fill it in. Come back and like head back, whatever. I'm so like I haven't thought of it. I'm just like talking it up right now, so I don't have many phrases for you. But there's tons of things that you can say. Tons of things that like any command, any sentence with back in it, that will be a thing. For example, like I can like we can do a session, and you might wonder like is it true? Like you're wondering is it right and stuff. And the thing is, a lot of times abductees, people that had experiences with 20&Back, secret space program, MILABs and stuff, they might think like they might get memories of it, they might get flashes of it, and they're like, oh my, is it really that? And then you wonder, and then you try looking into it, and then a thought comes, oh, it's all bullshit, it's not real, it's just my imagination. It's quite likely that it's not you saying that. It's the program they've had. They made sure that for you that you would not remember the experience, they will install that phrase. It's like MK Ultra. They're just brainwashing you, repeating the phrase again and again and again to make sure that you will not remember anything. And so you're looking into the experience. You're looking into your memory. You're trying to tap into it. And it was like, oh, it's just my imagination. Oh, it's all bullshit. No, it's not true. And so with that is the command that was installed. That's the command that was used to program you. Not all the cases, but it happens a lot. And so for us, like, oh, you're trying to find out the real information, the truth, you're trying to remember that stuff, and you tap into it, and you're like, yeah, you know it's true, you can feel it. But then there's that thought, that side thought that wasn't yours, like the command starts playing, like, oh, fuck, they're trying to, like, they're starting to remember, and there's that implant, there's this stuff, and it recalls, like, subconscious command, no, it's not true, no, it's just my imagination, And whatever they installed is going to be there. It's going to affect you. And with all that being said, like, there's tons of things I want to cover. For example, like, how true is the whole 20&Back program? Goode and stuff. So for me, like I say, like most of my experience comes from getting out of body. And then after I learn something, I come back and I tell people and then I hear about it and I'm like, oh yeah, awesome. And with that, I cannot deny that it's not truth. I tend to believe my PCs and people that I work with and stuff. And there's like a lot of ways we can spin it, but like I had a lot of cases with people where they're sitting in a class, they're doing something, and all of a sudden they're trying to learn algebra. They don't have enough information, they're learning, studying and stuff, they're in school, like whatever grade you choose, and all of a sudden, boom, and they remember, they open their eyes, like it's just a blink. You're in the class, you blink, and you're in a spaceship. And so the person lives for 20 years. And he's being trained in the military and learning information and stuff like that. And after 20 years of like living in space with other ETs and races and stuff, boom, gets back in the body. And just a moment before he blinked. So no one noticed anything. They sort of put him back in time, wiped his memory, so he doesn't remember any experience from what he had there. And he's just sitting in the class like nothing happened. Except, the person now that was learning algebra knows all about it. It's like, the fuck, it's too easy. And so, in that same class, he was able to teach the teacher, who was teaching algebra and explain it way better than the teacher ever did. He was able to finish all the classes in a week or so, and go to true university and finish the whole university courses in a month or so. And at a very young age, the person has all the degrees and starts working with, like, government hires him and like, wow, that person is good. He has some information and stuff. The person that had abducted and the whole experience doesn't remember it. It was mind-wiped. But the memory of these subjects, he knew so much that this, like, humanly subjects were nothing to him. And he takes like a huge position in the world, like, he knows a lot, and it's easy for him. He has this, like, a huge bag of information. Different cases, people like are living in a nice town like a kid, just like, playing with toys and stuff, never even thought about space. The moment he blinks, all of a sudden, huge interest in UFOs, the knowledge about UFOs and different races and spaceships and stuff, all of a sudden he starts talking like things like he never even thought of. So for me to explain that, he just like tapped into it and like, his kundalini opened up and he started having this spiritual experience after a blink? No. And so when I hear the stories, when I talk to them and they share their information and learn how, they, one moment they're there, next moment they experience 20 years or less or however much in space and doing different things, like working in military labs, working different things, and then they returned. A lot of times, like the original body is destroyed, and then they tap into like clone body, they just put it in time. They have tons of ways to do stuff like that, and I'm learning about it. I'm learning from what people tell me. I learn from that, like when I get out of body and check on the different information and stuff, and it's amazing. It's really amazing about all the possibilities. So for me, it's like, I cannot deny it. I cannot say like it's not true, because from all the people experiences, from everything they tell, from everything I check in my Ubis, that's like, that matches. I get like, they tell me this story, I'm like, yeah, I saw it in my Ubi, I saw this and that and that, and I'm like, and I adapt. And then another thing, it's even more fun when I'm giving a session, and the person like tells me about the story, and like, they remember their past life, they remember what happened when they were abducted in the 20&Back program and stuff, and they tell me their story, and I'm like, what? I listened to them, and I realized that when I was out of body, I met the person who was in the ship working for them. I met them, and I was somewhere in time, different timelines and stuff, and I met the person. And I saw him on the ship, and I talked to the crew, and I was like working diplomatic thing, like, yeah, okay, we're done, like, don't go to this planet, don't live there, and I'm just like telling them, and they're like, okay. And I get back on Earth, and I was like, one of my usual Ubis, nothing specific, nothing special. And this person is telling me a story, and I noticed I saw him. I remember him. I remember what he did. I remember the whole thing, and I'm like, how can I say it like, like it's not truth? For them, like, it happened. And they do not remember getting out of body. They don't have that ability, at least what the person is telling me. But for him to be there in service for 20 years, to tell me the details of what they've done there for 20 years and stuff, it's totally a thing. And again, however you can see it, it's not like, there's only the one day that happens and there's only the one way and like everything else bullshit. No. However you tap it. I'm getting out of body, either this way or going deep dive inside of my consciousness, both. That person being abducted or all happening in this world, both ways are happening. So whichever way you choose to believe and look at that, it is truth. So that being said, I think John West had a question or two for me. So he had a question like, was the session more for you or for the other person to help them? Usually when I'm giving sessions, I'm helping other people. I learn a lot. When I get a body, I get the information. So I think it's both-sided. Mainly it's focused on the other person to help them as much as possible. But with every time I get a body and I focus on these specific cases, I learn a lot. It's like I can get a body and like do whatever, and it's fun. But when I'm focusing on these specific cases, like yesterday's experience, like I learned so much. I've learned things I've never even thought of, I never read about and stuff. And I'm like, wow, it's awesome, it's crazy, and I just can't wait to tell people about it because it's big. And the more people can hear about it, you'll be able to know if it's true or not. It's not me telling you it's truth, it's truth, it's truth. No, whatever you choose to believe. But the thing is, your consciousness will know if it's true. Because if you lived in your past lives, if you've had Ubis and stuff, you will probably have seen it, you probably have experienced that, and you might not remember it right now. But when you hear certain people say certain phrases, say things in a certain way, it's like, oh, you just have the knowingness, and it just like taps into the knowing, like you know it, you know it's true, you feel it, you've experienced that, you might not remember it now. But the way it's said, the way you hear it, like you can tap into it and know if it's true or not. So it's like, I'm just gonna tell a story of like, not now, but like in the other video, and it's a big thing. So I'm not even covering what I've learned in my research yesterday, but there's a whole lot. So I'm focusing on helping other people, but I always get a lot of information from my sessions. Whatever I focus on, like either giving soul contract sessions, working with the whole entity removal thing, or even helping people with 20&Back and stuff, I learn a lot, and it's just amazing for me. So another thing, has anyone in these programs traveled beyond solar system? A lot of times, a lot of people that I have worked with and like was helping with regarding 20&Back program, I probably know only one person who was in the solar system, and a whole lot of others were out completely, and they went to the 40 to the 50. They were like all over the place. There's a lot going on, so it's not just like one timeline. It's like I'm thinking like, oh, the grid around Earth is just like, it's a thing. No, it's not the grid around Earth. Like there's that. There's also grid around every planet and the whole solar system. They have network, and doesn't end just there. It's not just that their control is right here in the Milky Way. There's a whole lot more. It's just like, you just don't like, hey, we're being fucked, and a lot of happening everywhere. you just like don't just jump to people and tell them that, and I just did. But it's like you have to be smooth about how you share information. And sometimes I'm wondering, like, how much should they tell people? Should they just go all the way in and you're gonna think like I'm crazy or maybe relate to it? Or should they just go slowly, just giving like little bits, more and more at a time, but with that sort of slowly coming into people and reaching them at certain angles, and they're like, oh yeah, that sounds truth, and then they accept the truth, whatever. But you get me, like, can't say too much, at least not the major public in the world and stuff. Anyway, another question John had was, has any of these people in these programs used Stargates? Now that's the thing I haven't asked. That's the thing I haven't looked into. Probably like only one person. I think like one or two. I think they were able to teleport. They were able to use the Stargates, but it was just like somewhere in the sense like, oh yeah, I use the Stargates and stuff. Blah 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 blah. So I've never looked into the details, but it's not. It's a thing being used, but it's not too popular. Like there are plenty of ways to travel and do different things in the multiverse. Like, you think of like, how should I go somewhere in the multiverse when I'm out of body? Do I need a portal? Do you need an elevator, like a special door to go there? Like, you having a thought, whatever place it might be. You might not know how it looks like. You might not know the coordinates. You might not know anything about the place. But you know that you're looking for a place that is friendly, that is loving, that has certain this and this and this, whatever you might like. And that all is enough. Your preferences of what you want to see, what you want to experience, what you want to be at and stuff. You choose like, okay, loving place with lots of beings that are like really nice, and it's gonna be my rehab place. I'm gonna learn things, and there's no one that is bad or deceptive, and I'm only there for a short period of time, and blah blah blah. And you sort of put whatever context you might like, whatever like world you might like. You're the creator, and so you look at that information, and they're like, okay, I like that sort of idea. Like, you're holding your information right here, so you look at it, you put the intention that you want to go there, you close your eyes or whatever, and having the intention in an emotional place, like you know exactly what it is, and the intention to teleport there, and you're there. That's all it takes. And easy for me to see, like, I teleport a lot, and it doesn't even take much, but I'm like, oh, how can I help other people to do the same thing to get the understanding? So I have to sort of reverse engineer everything to like sort of look at it backwards and stuff, and like that's how you do it and stuff. So I'm still working on it, but that's my short video about my experience with Secret Space Program. Literally, I'm learning from my personal experiences. I'm learning from people's stories. I have not looked too much into what other people's videos or articles. I still have to do the research and stuff, but I prefer going out of body, learning it myself, and then coming back here. People like give me the sources, and I'm like, oh, it matches, and I can look at both what I experienced, what other people experienced, and I'm like looking at the details and stuff. That's cool. And I'm not looking for everything to match my stuff. I'm looking at like all the possibilities of what can happen and stuff, and I love learning, and I also love learning from my out-of-body experiences. So here it is. That's my experience and stuff. You might like it, you might not, but like share your thoughts with the whole thing. How you see the whole Secret Space Program? Have you ever been involved into it? Your thoughts on the whole like traveling and stuff. Whatever I say and whatever you think is like I have a better opinion on the way to say it. Like share your thoughts and stuff, and soon, probably after this, I'll be making another video about what I've learned and like yesterday's session. So it's a short video about it. It's like sorry for taking so long, but I'm glad I was able to express it. I'm glad I was able to talk about these sort of topics. It's important because it's happening and stuff. But yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and like share your thoughts. I'm looking to learning more from you, like getting all the links to different places and stuff to get information and stuff. Thank you. Like see you next video. Bye.